All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 2 of this podcast today. All right, so I do apologize there. We kind of had a little bit of a misunderstanding as time, like pretty much what happened in the past 4 minutes. I'll break you through just so you know what's happening, because that actually kind of is a little bit comically amusing in a weird way, because what happened was my microphone stand, the high quality equipment here we purchased at the Spencer Walter Branding SWRN, just literally the microphone stand fell apart in my hands as I was talking about Trump's new jobs numbers. So, or at least the new jobs numbers, I could say, in the Trump administration. So then what happened after that was my freaking thing, it fell apart. I go to put something to the side in an effort to fix it, and then I clip the back of my audio box here, and it knocks out the microphone from the input thing, and then we can't do a show anymore. All right, so yeah, that is a lot of fun there. Yeah, so we pretty much are gonna have to start this too. It's part 2 of the story we just did. All right, and we spent a lot of time on that, so we're gonna have to move on now to Trump and Rudy Giuliani. He undercut his attorney Rudolph W. Giuliani on Friday and said the former New York mayor will eventually get the facts right regarding a payment to a pornographic actress who said she had an affair with Trump. And virtually everything that's been said has been covered incorrectly, and it's been said wrong, or it's been covered wrong by the press, Trump said. Of course, he thinks that it's really not surprising, because Trump is Trump, and he's going to hate on the press pretty much every chance he gets. So, I mean, the fact that, journalists should be surprised by this, no, they should not. And should Trump think this is going to work? No, you're stupid. But also the thing is, Giuliani, he just had to release a statement about this. He released a statement about the difference of opinion, per se, in Trump and the attorney. So Giuliani, who joined Trump's legal team last month, just started a day ago, Trump said, speaking to an NRA convention. He's a great guy, Trump said. He'll get his facts straight. So yeah, that's not a good situation. So yeah, Giuliani did walk back Trump a little bit, and Trump then did back Rudy Giuliani. So yeah, let's see what the statement was here. So he called Giuliani a great guy. He had issued a statement saying he intended to clarify the views he expressed over the past few days, but it didn't really spell things out. And unfortunately, we cannot find that statement, which is pretty disappointing. But whatever. Yeah. So he's a great guy. He'll get his facts straight. That's a good thing. That's, at least we know he will get his facts straight here. So yeah, he undercut his attorney. And pretty much everything that said's been wrong. He says everything, the press lied about it, but he literally said it. Giuliani said what he said to the press. So there's not too much, if you can call Fox News like journalists in a news organization, but whatever. Yeah, so Giuliani covered this, and it's the first time the president addressed the inconsistent narrative about the payment made by his personal lawyer, Michael D. Cohen, to the actress Stephanie Daniels, who goes by the stage name Stormy Daniels. Stephanie Clifford, who goes by the same stage name, as I'm sure you know, Stormy Daniels. Trump didn't offer any details on Friday to clarify the confusion, but said it's actually very simple. There's been a lot of misinformation, so set us straight, will ya? Giuliani released a statement Friday trying to clear the information, saying that his references to timing were not describing my understanding of the president's knowledge, but instead my understanding of these matters. But again, why does it matter if he reimbursed him? He reimbursed him. Like, it doesn't matter if the president knows. I think did someone steal money out of the president's account without their knowledge to go reimburse Michael Cohen? Is this what we're saying here? Yeah. He also said, not shockingly, that there has been no campaign violations in the matter. Yeah, it was really evolving facts surrounding the Oval Office, to say the least. And we will be looking at the story in the future. All right. So there is that. Now we will move on. We will move on. And we will continue to Barack Obama, who has just endorsed the repugnant Dianne Feinstein's re-election campaign. And, I mean, I got to be honest here. When I saw this headline on Politico.com, I did lose a little bit of respect for our performance, our former president here, especially in the light of Donald Trump. Even in the light of Donald Trump, I still think, that's a little tough for me to support Barack Obama, and I do not support his decision there at all. I mean, I get endorsing Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders, the popular thing to do, something that, like maybe he felt he had to like fit in there or something like that. I do not know, but there is a little bit of a problem there. She did endorse him. I mean, what I think Barack Obama should have done is probably stay out of this. I don't see her endorsing the strong progressive challenger, Allison Hartson over there, but I do see what's going on. I do see Obama staying out of this. I think it makes a lot more sense for him to stay out of this because it is really pretty tough. So Hillary Clinton Feinstein and Obama have a relationship dating back to their time as senators together. So they're best buds, really benefiting the American people. They're longtime friends. They're good supporters. Oh, it's so nice. But apparently they don't even really want to focus or support progressive positions. Feinstein was a major supporter of Clinton in 2008 and hosted a key meeting between Obama and Clinton at her Washington home at the end of the presidential contest. So she's like, probably, let's get this straight. So Feinstein is a centrist. She is, I believe, she's anti-abortion. She's anti-weed. She's anti all of these things that Democrats, especially in such a liberal state like California, one of the top 2 most liberal states in the country, it's something that they should really be in favor of. She's anti a lot of those things. But yeah, she's maintained large leads over Kevin Leon in fundraising, as Politico being Politico. The first thing they bring up is fundraising before polls, which is interesting, ahead of the state's June primary election. She's also suffered, though, from increasing angst among progressive activists here, failing to secure the state's Democratic primary endorsement this year. So it's pretty crazy. I'm proud to give Dianne Feinstein my strong endorsement for her re-election to the United States Senate, Obama said in a prepared statement. She's always been an indispensable leader for California's big businesses and corporations. No, he didn't say that. He said California. And we became dear friends and partners in the fight to guarantee affordable health care and economic opportunity for everybody, to protect our planet from climate change and our kids from gun violence. Here, I will give her credit. She has done some pretty solid work about gun violence, but what I really think we should look at here, if we're looking at the legacy of Dianne Feinstein, is did she really support the Democratic positions? Was she one of the liberal thought leaders? Was she one of the really who was on the cutting edge of everything progressive which she kind of has to be because she's in California, and that state is hella liberal. So you kind of got to be pretty solid if you're there. So he also said, and the answer is no, she is not very solid at all. She's a centrist. She's practically a Republican. She was she was like, no, she was one of those give Trump a chance people. She was literally one of those give Trump a chance people. So, which is a little bit disturbing to say the least. He said, Feinstein said, Obama said, I asked Californians to join me in supporting Dianne Feinstein's re-election and returning one of America's most effective champions for progress. Nope. To the Senate. Feinstein is heavily favored by the state's Democratic establishment, obviously with support from Kamala Harris, Jerry Brown, and Nancy Pelosi. But we have endorsements from Kevin Leon. He's one of the big people there running. Also, there is Allison Hartson, who's been endorsed by the, if you want to know who the real progressive is in this race, Kevin Leon is not it. Dianne Feinstein's definitely not it. But the real progressive in this race, I think it's become pretty clear over time, is Allison Hartson. She supports Medicare for all. She's been endorsed by the Justice Democrats, which means, say with me, no corporate PAC money. There will not be any corporate PAC money from Allison Hartson's campaign. She'll be completely out there fighting for you. She has a shady history on a lot of things. She was fought for the Confederate flag to be removed from the State House. You should really go check her out. It is pretty sketchy stuff. She's one of the richest people in the Senate. I mean, there's nothing about that, but she's taking so much money from outside influences corporations. It is really, really tough to support her in any situation, even in this situation. So I do want to look up some of her real politicians. She's running in Kevin DeLeon. She has done some minorly progressive things in the year. But if you want to look for the real progressive challenger, someone who's going to fight for you literally no matter what, it's going to be very important. So it's healthcare, energy, education, jobs. She is for them. And I will read you her Justice Democrats profile, which Justice Democrats is an organization that has people not taking corporate money and supporting Bernie Sanders type positions, which is really cool, awesome, great stuff. She was the co-national director for Wolf PAC, which is a organization built to get money out of politics. And so that's one of her first big career politicians, one of her first big career stones, quote unquote. Allison Hartson spent her life in the service of others. 10 years she worked as a public high school teacher in the working class community of Garden Grove, California. She grew up close. She saw up close how the corrupting influence of money on politics made two systems in the country, one for the rich and one for everyone else. As seeing this inspired her to begin volunteering for Wolf PAC, an organization dedicated to ending political corruption. As a volunteer and getting money out of politics, corporate influence out of politics, Allison also organized thousands of people in California to pass a measure through the state legislature that will begin the process of getting big money out of politics. She went on to be a national director, where they have now passed the measure in 5 states and have volunteer teams in almost 50 states. So she knows the challenges California faces, and I hear the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. I want to give her my endorsement because that is some pretty incredible stuff that she is doing. If you ever heard about the California Senate race, the people primarying Dianne Feinstein, and I mean the media is not really going to cover her because they don't want to give any more exposure to pro-Bernie candidates, real leftist people, than they actually have to. And the big challenge for many progressives is getting the name out there in the state broadly, and it's really tough to do with such a huge state like California. Just getting the name recognition out there, that is so important. But man, she is the one to support. She is really quite incredible. So yeah, 10 journalists were killed, as we segue now to Afghanistan, and it really puts to you, as we close out the week, where things really are. Over the weekend, 10 Afghan journalists were eating their last meals and having their final conversation with their loved ones, but they did not know it. On Monday, they were murdered in attacks that specifically targeted them. One was shot by assailants in the Khost province. One was killed in Kabul when a suicide bomber mixed with them as they reported on a bombing that had just happened. This hardly counts as news in America because we have peculiar ideas about what constitutes bravery in journalism. While these Afghan reporters were living their final hours in relative obscurity, hundreds of American quote-unquote journalists were celebrating themselves in a glitzy Washington, D.C. ballroom. Their good humor was thrown off kilter when a comedian, Michelle Wolf, delivered a lacerating routine that criticized the Trump administration, especially Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Later, many of the journalists in the ballroom and others who had not been there lined up to perform a inverted version of courage, apologizing to Sanders and anyone who might have been offended by the comedian's short gig. If you have the misfortune of being on Twitter and are following a journalist or two, as I do, You probably will be familiar with the tweet-by-tweet drama that has been playing out. Should journalists apologize? What's the deal? What's the back and forth? It's kind of been playing out all week. It's